So that's boxing at its finest right there. You heard it. They said it. Make that bet. Everything on the line. Right. I mean,
Gervonta is an animal for real. Jake is too domestic. Here's the thing: Mike Tyson's an animal too. He was just 60. But he messed around and he got a prime tank.
Gervonta "Tank" Davis is going harder than ever in his training camp for the Jake Paul showdown. Every session is pure fire, endless sparring wars, explosive pad work, and relentless conditioning that pushes Tank to his absolute limit. Surrounded by elite trainers, his focus is razor-sharp and his aggression is unmatched, proving he's on a mission to remind the world what real boxing power looks like. According to Showbiz the Adult, Jake Paul might have just made the biggest mistake of his career by calling out a fighter like Davis, a champion in his prime, not a faded legend chasing a payday. Tank has already destroyed taller and stronger foes such as Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios, proving he's not just powerful but also smart and adaptable. Jake may believe that he is reiterating his previous strategy of taking on bigger names or crossover stars, but this time, he is taking on a challenge that is far more challenging than he can handle. Gervonta isn't here for clout, he's here to conquer. And when that bell rings, the world will witness the difference between a YouTuber learning boxing and a world-class destroyer built for it. Some boxing experts warn that Gervonta "Tank" Davis may have stepped into dangerous territory this time. They argue that Jake Paul's size and natural strength could be major factors once the two face off. While Tank's speed, timing, and knockout power dominate the lighter divisions, moving up against a heavier opponent could push him beyond his comfort zone. Analysts remind fans that weight classes exist for a reason, to keep fights fair and balanced. Even with Tank's elite skill set and ruthless finishing ability, going up against a naturally bigger, stronger fighter like Jake Paul presents serious risks that shouldn't be taken lightly.
Emotionally, see if he's right. See, when it's all said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake's good. Jake, and let me tell you this too. I looked at them sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank, and Jake, and I'm looking at them. Tank can reach him. He reached Ryan Garcia. Right, he reached Mario Barrio. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna reach him. Tank's gonna reach him. He knows he's gonna reach him. Listen, I want to say this too. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Bumgardner, shout out to you. I couldn't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3 minutes, 12 rounds, it's Alicia Bumgardner. And I really know if I have a great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Bumgardner. So, what's her name? Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia. So that's a perfect dance partner. Like, trying to drag Alicia Bumgardner into link water. See what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Bumgardner. But let's get back to Tank. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, he was just making all these implications that was going to be scripted. When he said, "You're paying me," then he was like, "Yo, you're going to have to give me extra." He said that this is scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking sum him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You pay me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
40. Where 40 at?
Everyone who watched Gervonta "Tank" Davis at the press conference saw a man in total control, calm, confident, and composed. Unlike Jake Paul, who thrives on drama and spectacle, Tank remained laser-focused and unshaken, exuding the quiet confidence of a fighter who knows exactly what he's fighting for. His demeanor wasn't loud or flashy, it was measured, built from years of championship experience. For Davis, this isn't about clout or social media fame, it's about legacy, proving that skill, patience, and ring IQ still define true greatness in boxing. Every word he spoke, every glance he gave, carried purpose and intent. While Jake played to the cameras, Tank displayed professionalism and discipline, reminding everyone that real champions don't need chaos to stand out. They rely on preparation, precision, and belief. The press conference left no doubt. Gervonta Davis isn't here to perform for views. He's here to dominate when the bell rings.
All of a sudden, we want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little.
yo.
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank
The
too
way
little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis
That weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Dog.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank going, it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70-pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound, 20, 30-pound difference, bro, if you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time, being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos, and we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out. Because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30-pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen with Jake and Tank.
Boxing analyst Teddy Atlas compares Jake Paul's upcoming clash with Gervonta Tank Davis to Logan Paul's exhibition with Floyd Mayweather, but with far higher stakes. While Jake may boast a size and reach advantage, Atlas believes experience will be the true deciding factor. He explains that Davis has spent years perfecting his craft, developing instincts and composure that no training camp can teach. Unlike Logan's cautious showing against Mayweather, Jake will face a relentless, explosive fighter ready to punish every mistake. According to Atlas, Tank's superior ring IQ, timing, and precision will completely neutralize Jake's physical advantages, exposing the massive skill gap between them.
In the press conference, and you can tell, you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's going to get this money for sure because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games. Don't hit him in the back of the head. Don't rabbit punch him. Don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson. First of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash. Like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh, man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it. But I got to say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn. This turn of these exhibition fights and people not caring about the belts and all of that stuff came with Floyd Mayweather Jr., man.
Analyst Luke Thomas offered a deep and thoughtful take on Gervonta Tank Davis as he gears up for his highly anticipated showdown with Jake Paul. He acknowledged Tank's trademark knockout power and deadly finishing instincts, but pointed out a noticeable change in his demeanor this time around. Davis appeared quieter, calmer, and more reflective, not out of fear, but out of maturity. According to Thomas, this new version of Tank represents a fighter who understands that this battle is bigger than fame, hype, or money. It's about legacy, defending the purity of boxing against the rise of celebrity fighters and protecting the sport's true spirit. Thomas noted that such mental evolutions occur when an athlete realizes they're part of something historic, a moment that defines not just their career but also their identity as a professional. If Tank channels this calm into his performance, it could refine his timing and precision, making him even more dangerous. But if the weight of expectations slows him down, it could test his resolve. Either way, Thomas believes this newfound composure shows a deeper, wiser side of Davis, a champion intent on proving that discipline, skill, and mental strength still reign supreme over fame and size.
I want this, or I like this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling, and that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if? What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else that just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air. And he hits him. Sid Terrace was a great fighter. No, not the 1700s, but years ago. And Cus D'Amato told me he loved Sid Terrace. He said, Teddy, he used to jump up in the air and hit you with 3 jabs. I said, whoa, man, it's Sid Terrace. All right. Anyway, look, I can't finish without saying that it did invoke some memories and thoughts that we've been here before in a different way, where Jake Paul's brother fought Mayweather. That's not forget. And I'm not saying I like that either.
The rising tension between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis perfectly captures the collision between modern-day spectacle and pure boxing tradition. Their heated face-off wasn't just about trash talk or aggression. It symbolized the deeper narrative driving this entire fight. On one side stands Jake Paul, the larger-than-life social media star turned fighter, using power, confidence, and relentless self-promotion to craft his reputation. On the other side stands Davis, a battle-tested world champion defined by precision, timing, and ring intelligence sharpened through years of elite competition. This matchup fascinates fans because it embodies a classic question: can raw size and physical power ever truly defeat refined skill and experience? Beyond personal pride, this showdown represents the evolution of boxing itself, a sport now caught between spectacle and substance. Their confrontation is not just a contest of fists but of philosophies: fame versus foundation, flash versus fundamentals. As fight night approaches, excitement surges not only for the action inside the ring but also for what this battle will say about the future of boxing in an age driven by money, media, and ambition.
So in that sense, it's a little bit different. It's not different in the sense of a boxer in his prime or relative prime straying off the path, but this one is not. It's not like someone else, in a similar weight. It's like completely the opposite, and so that makes it, I think, look and feel weird. And then on top of it, obviously, Gervonta's got other business to handle. He looked to me, Gervonta, absolutely, completely disinterested. I don't, even at the beginning of this year, and even at the pre-fight Lamont Roach stuff, Tank was talking about how much time he has left in boxing, which was sort of much. The Lamont Roach fight, it blew up in his face, but Lamont Roach was cherry picked. I think Tank thought, oh, I'll just fight another guy from, the Mid-Atlantic area who's, remember Roach came up from 30 to 35 to fight him, and Tank thought he was just going to cruise, and then it blew up in his face, and, you're left with that. So, you're making a point about, oh, he's got this obligation. That's true. He was already fucking around. He was already taking opponents that, again, I think Roach showed everyone that was a mistake, but put yourself in Tank's mind. Tank was taking a fight against someone he was clearly, in his mind anyway, better than, and was just going to cruise. So he was already in that state. Then you marry that with statements like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this, and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm worried about going to therapy because it'll take away my competitive edge. And, kind of teetering on the edge a little bit about whether or not this is a thing he wants to do. Then he, there's a draw in that fight.
As the countdown to Jake Paul versus Gervonta "Tank" Davis continues, the fight world is buzzing with speculation, excitement, and controversy. Whether it's the glove size debate, the exhibition status, or Floyd Mayweather's timely reappearance, one thing is certain: this showdown has captured global attention. It's more than a clash of fists, it's a collision of worlds: fame versus legacy, entertainment versus excellence. While Jake relies on his size and celebrity edge, Tank's relentless training and explosive skill promise to remind everyone what true boxing looks like. When the lights dim and the bell rings, only one truth will remain: skill always speaks louder than hype. If you love real boxing breakdowns, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fight updates and analysis.